Hey everyone, welcome to the Escape Pod. I am Sal.
I'm Josiah.
And I'm Nathan.
And we watched Rogue One, a Star Wars story.
The world is coming undone. Imperial flags reign across the galaxy.
The first anthology film to come out, and the second year in a row with a new Star Wars film.
Yeah.
Are we all excited?
I am, yes.
Okay, so this is a rare review because not all of so I don't think any of us know the other's opinions.
No.
I only have guesses, but
Yeah, I have guesses. I've been trying to work out like what everybody feels about it.
Yeah,
That's been part of the fun.
the only person in Escape Pod that knows any of our opinions is Haley, because she is an unbiased, uninvolved member who's not here today.
Anyway.
So we're all going to talk about our opinion, like our quick, like non-spoilery opinion on the film. Then we're going to do what we did with Force Awakens and rank all the Star Wars movies from worstest to bestest, which I forget my old ranking, but I'm sure I'll fuck it up.
I rewatched, so I remember exactly what my ranking was, and I can tell you it's changed.
I knew that we were gonna do rankings, so I
didn't.
refreshed my memory.
Fuck, I am the one not prepared for this part, because I think Josiah before we recorded said rankings, and I was like, shit,
I must have just mentioned it to Nathan and not mentioned it to you, but I was like, Nathan, remember to get your rankings ready.
I also was
damn it.
doing it in my mind, because after I watched, I was like, okay, where would I rank that? Because I do.
Yeah.
So, who wants to say their opinions first?
Do you want to mirror how we did it the first time, or was you, Nathan, and then me?
Yeah, because it's like poetry, it rhymes.
Again, it's like poetry, so if they rhyme, every stanza kind of rhymes with the last one. Hopefully it'll work.
So I'm going to say my opinions on Rogue One. I really liked Rogue One. It was kind of just what I hoped it would be, which was basically a World War II misfit film, like Callie's Heroes or Dirty Dozen or Big Red One. Get it? Because Mark Hamill. But anyway. Listen, because if I didn't say it, no one would know the joke.
Yeah, exactly.
Because it's an old movie. But yeah, it felt like a World War II, a band of like misfits and unsavory types come together. They have like a very desperate mission, and they go off and do it, and it's like a cool World War II action film. And this kind of felt like one of those, just with a Star Wars coating over it. And I really liked it, and I think I actually liked it more than Force Awakens, because Force Awakens, to me, upon deep thought afterward, you could tell that Disney came to Gareth Edwards and said, "Here's a checklist of all the things you have to do, because this is a Star Wars film." And he said that he looked at it and said, "I'm gonna do the barest minimum I possibly can to not have to do this bullshit." Because there's a lot of moments in the film, like, not really a spoiler, but when C-3PO and R2-D2 show up, it's for literally 5 seconds. Yes. And I can imagine the conversation being, "Hey Garth, you need C-3PO and R2-D2. And he was like, "They don't really fit my story." And they're like, "Yeah, but it's a Star Wars film. They've been in every one." He's like, "Okay. Do they have to say something?" And they're like, "Yeah, let's say something." And he's like, "All right." And he literally just had them say one line and they're gone. It's like the back of them. And I was like, I saw that and I could feel Disney saying, "Garth, you need to put that in," and him being like, "I mean, I'm gonna do it my way." And I feel like there's a lot of moments, like with the typical "I got a bad feeling about this" line was cut short and made fun of. Like a lot of stuff that felt like Star Wars tropes were made fun of because Disney obviously said you need to have them in there, and he was like, "Bitch, please, fine, because you're letting me do a Star Wars movie, but I'm not gonna be happy about it." And I felt it was a change, and it was a good change. It was a step in the right direction. It was change, but it was a safe change. It was in a time period we all know, and a time period that we're all familiar with, and it had characters that we recognize and places that we recognize and shots that we recognize. But it also was a very different tale than we've seen before, because we've seen the boring political drama, we've seen the fun space adventure. Now we're seeing a World War II gritty film with a bit of, the Star Wars fun mixed in, but not a lot. And I don't know, I think that overall I liked it. The story was pretty simple but engaging. Most characters had little arcs. I didn't expect big ones because, again, it's a Dirty Dozen film. I'm not going to expect big things. I'm not going to expect a Han Solo-esque arc or a Luke arc, but everyone has a little arc they have by the end of the film. Except for probably the droid.
No, the droid, I would argue the droid is one of the people who does have a definitive arc. It's people like Bodhi the pilot, where I'm like, Who?
Yeah, he had a little arc of like accepting that he was a rebel and enjoying that.
Yeah.
And that was the thing. It's like that those films, there are some characters who kind of fall by the wayside. And I expect that. I don't need every character to be engaging, but the ones that were meant to be engaging were. I think the pilot didn't need to be super engaging because he kind of had a very simple purpose, but I did enjoy his scenes, and I did like the scene where K2SO was like, "You're a rebel now." And I was like, oh, awesome. That's so cool. But yeah, I just really enjoyed it. It was a good change. It's a step in the right direction. They're still playing it safe by not going crazy and being like, okay, first anthology film is Revan. Like, that's a bit... People don't really know who that is for the most part, the general audience, but everyone knows, okay, Death Star, Tarkin, Vader, you know.
Spoiler alert. No, I'm just joking.
Well, it's funny because I didn't see Tarkin in any of the shows I watched. So when he showed up, I was surprised.
And we'll get into it. We'll get into, like...
Well, as I saw it, I was like, of course he's in this. But at the same time, I was like, but they never advertised him, and that's kind of cool that they didn't.
Well, I think that was also something they specifically wanted kept under wraps.
And I'm glad that there were surprises in the film like that, because in an era that I've claimed as this time of where everything's spoiled before you see it, it was nice to walk into that film and sit down and have Tarkin turn to me, and I was like, oh, I literally just did not know, and that was great. I liked that the fact that there was no title crawl, that it had a cold open.
I did like that.
I like that it included a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away, but did not do an opening crawl.
Yeah, was everyone else waiting for the "da," but it just didn't come, and then it just cut to that field, and you were like, oh yeah.
No, I kind of knew that it was gonna not have the crawl.
Oh, okay.
I don't know how. I just kind of felt it, and what was great is because this movie is literally the plot of one of the title crawls. So
yeah,
they don't have a title crawl.
That is actually it is. I do actually want to when it does come out on DVD, I want to edit together this and A New Hope, and I want us to watch it together to see how it fades into the next.
Yeah,
okay.
Just not have it go straight from, well, I won't spoil it yet, but the very end and then the very opening with the Tantive 4 escaping.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, I think that could be cool.
I want to do that edit. I think we should just sit down and do that one night.
Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, so that was my thoughts.
I'm always down for Star Wars.
So Nathan, what did you think?
A little background on my experience with the movie. You know, I think we mentioned this a little bit in our Force Awakens review, but with this announcement of Disney deciding to do Star Wars movies every year, I had that worry of, oh boy, this is going to be streamlined, generic garbage. Mm-hmm. But, despite some of that skepticism, despite some of my initial misgivings, as I was going to the theater, I got my tickets online to make sure that I wouldn't be in a line. I went with my girlfriend. When I went to get my popcorn and soda, the guy was like, hey, it's $5 more to get a crappy little plastic Star Wars cup and a tin Star Wars popcorn bucket. And I was like, you know what? Fuck yeah. I'm seeing a Star Wars movie in theaters. This is the fourth one that I have seen in a span of about 14 years. So this is still kind of a novelty for me. You know what? Fuck yeah, Star Wars. I'm getting hyped. I'm getting really, really excited to go on this adventure. And I gotta say,
Jin, whatever I do, I do it to protect you. So you understand?
I understand.
that is the wrong frame of mind to go in with this movie.
Yeah.
As a result, my first viewing of it, I was very bored for a lot of it because it is a slower, more dramatic kind of movie. That said, I've also noticed within myself that over the past few years, I've gotten used to fast-paced, action-packed, on-the-go movies. So I was open to the idea that I was having a bias against it, and that I just wasn't ready for it to be as much of a drama as it was. So a couple days later, I acquired it through means that enabled me to watch it in my home. So
Streamer copy,
Listen. It's
exactly.
Nathan, you paid for it. It's okay.
Yeah. I did pay for it once. So that time, I had the house to myself. I threw it up on my TV. I sat back, knowing what I was going into, and honestly, it was a lot better the second time through. I enjoyed it much more. A lot of the problems that I had with it were still there. Mm-hmm. Some of them were improved, but some of them were solidified. So I will say that I do like this movie. I do enjoy this movie. It was not what I was expecting. It's not generic, fast food movie industry pumping out movies constantly.
Yes.
Feel to it like Marvel or like Star Wars in 5 years.
Yeah, or the Han Solo film. Jesus.
Oh God.
Yeah, no, I'm even more worried about that now.
Very, very. But we'll talk about that in another video.
So I did enjoy it. That said, Gareth Edwards, he is a very good director. He's best known for Star Wars. Yes, he is now. But he up until now, he was best known for Godzilla 2014 and a movie called Monsters that I really liked. I don't know if I know it's not as popular.
I like Monsters.
Yeah, Monsters is good. I like Godzilla 2014 more than most people. I will say that he's a very big picture man. He's very much conveying tone through imagery, and he does that really, really well. He very well establishes, the massive might of the Empire and everything. That said, I feel like when it comes down to the individual characters, there's not that same thing there. As a result, I wasn't really engaged by any of the characters. Personally, for me, and this is probably the worst thing you can say as a reviewer, not because it's like bashing on the movie, but because it's going to make me sound like I have no idea what I'm talking about. Even after watching it a second time and being ready for the drama and being in a different state of mind, there's just something missing from this movie. And I'm not being like snarky and being like, oh, this is what you should have done, you dumb fucks. I honestly don't know. There's something missing from this movie that keeps me from loving it, that keeps me from enjoying it to the fullest, like I feel like Sal did. So I thought it was good, but it was missing a little bit of something that made me go, now that's a Star Wars movie.
I actually kind of do agree to a degree. Let me hit you with a question, though.
Okay.
Before Josiah talks. Do you think, or is it Garth or Gareth?
I think it's Gareth.
It's Gareth.
Okay, do you think Gareth Edwards directing a movie, not this one, but a movie, with Aaron Sorkin writing would be amazing?
Yes.
Aaron Sorkin. I'm not familiar by name.
Social Network, The West Wing, American President.
He's well known for like his dialogue and his character work. What he's saying is if Gareth Edwards was given like
something where the script itself was enough to bring out the characters.
Yeah.
And
yes.
I think that would be a good movie. I'm not positive it would be a movie that I personally enjoy, because again, dramas not super my thing. But yeah, I think that would be gorgeous, because I think that is a recurring problem with Gareth Edwards' work, is that it's him big picture, he does spectacular.
There's great set
really
pieces.
Good at conveying that. But when it comes to individual characters, there's always a little bit of suffering going on that I think could greatly be remedied by just a character-centered script.
Yeah, so it's funny. Some of the stuff I was going to say already got covered, but I'll bring it up again. What I thought of Rogue One, oh man. So I've seen it twice. I saw it once really early in the morning in 3D, like 9:45 a.m. And I gotta say, being a guy who does night shifts, going to that early of a movie, like for 3D, my eyes were sore towards the end of the movie. And then I saw a showing like late at night at like 11:15 in regular D. So what I thought of Rogue One was, again, I agree a lot with what you guys are saying. Like, visually, this movie's fantastic. I think Gareth Edwards, like you said, Nathan, and like you agreed with Sal, he's definitely like, I really want to see what he does, because I think he's very, like, his career is probably going to be like great as far as like what he does with, you know, the technique of filmmaking, and he knows how to present gravitas and how to make something feel huge and immersive, even when...
I want to know how he does that. I don't know why. It's like...
He just knows how to provide grandeur. And so this movie, it was really funny. The first time I watched it, I liked it, and I had problems with it. The second time I watched it, the parts I liked more, but the parts I didn't like more. So it kind of just evened out. it kind of was like, oh, I feel pretty much the same.
Okay, that's interesting. It's just like your thoughts got more solid. You're like, yeah, okay, that's what I think.
Exactly.
That's
so
funny.
the movie, I liked it. What I would describe this movie as, because I think we'll address this in our rankings, and I'll explain. I'm just going to give a tease here. This movie is probably the first Star Wars movie where, at least from my point of view, not saying like objectively, but it's from my point of view, the one that is most like in the middle. You know what I mean? Like, it's like all the other movies I have, like, oh, this is really good in my mind, or this is really bad in my mind. And Rogue One's like, this is a good time, and I know I'll rewatch this. There's some depth. Like, there's enough depth there where it does, build on things, but at the same time, it's not like a game. I like what it's doing, but at the same time, like, there's enough things about it where I'm like, hey, you know what? I probably would have improved a few things here and there. So overall, I kind of agree with you, like, both of you to an extent. I feel like we all kind of have almost the same opinion.
That's, what's funny? I went in thinking, okay, Josiah is gonna like parts but hate others, and Nathan's gonna just really not like it.
I thought you would think that.
Well, I mean,
there are parts I don't like. There are parts I don't like.
No, I completely understand. That's why I saw it a second time, because my initial response is exactly what you would have expected.
Yes.
Good. I only saw it once because I saw it like 2 days ago, because I was the last one of us to see it, because I'm being over.
He's a procrastinator of fun.
I work 40 hours a week, but yeah, that too.
Yes.
But
well, you work 40 hours a week and you don't have your own car. I caught this before my shift because I was a crazy bastard.
Yeah. But yeah, let's do rankings.
Okay.
I think from what I
Let's go.
remember, I did 1, 2, 3, 4, 7, 5, 6, right?
Yes.
That
that's what
sounds
you did.
correct. So my new
Yes.
rankings are 1, 2, 3, 7, 4, Rogue One, 5, 6.
Okay.
All right.
Like, I don't want to say what I was found interesting yet, but interesting. Okay.
Is it interesting that episode 7 dropped?
No, not that. What was interesting is that Rogue One is before A New Hope, but
Well,
we'll talk.
Well,
that's funny.
I have a big issue with A New Hope,
Okay.
and that's the third
Well-
act.
Oh, right. You don't like space battles?
No, I love space battles. It's just
I forgot.
it grinds to a halt after they rescue Leia and like a new movie starts, and there's a good like 20-30 minutes that, like, I don't know, whenever like there's the fight with Obi-Wan and Vader, I always, as I'm watching it, for some reason always think the movie's about to end because it feels like a climax. And then there's
the emotional climax.
and then there's like another
Yeah.
40 minutes, and I'm like, okay.
That's the emotional climax, and then Han Solo and Luke beating Vader in the Death Star is the end of the hero's journey.
Yeah, it feels. It really is a big issue with me.
Well, see, that's interesting to me because it's Return of the Jedi that I feel like I love that movie to death, but that's the one where I'm like, they're at Jabba's palace for way too long.
Yeah. Every
Like,
time it's like this
every time.
sequence is way longer than
Yeah.
I remember.
I guess I always I don't mind it because it's in the beginning and it's before the emotional climax instead of after it.
Yeah.
I mean, that's fair.
Because with that, I'm still getting into the film, and I could see that we're all kind of like getting back on base. And then when the emotional climax happens, it happens where it should happen. Not that I think all films should be made in a streamlined, similar way. It's just it hits a point where I don't care.
Yeah.
Okay, that's fair.
And I put Rogue One over A New Hope because the emotional climax is so great, and it's at the moment where I need it to be, and everything really builds up well. And while A New Hope is more focused on characters, I don't know why Rogue One I enjoy it more. And also I put 7 lower because 7 is just A New Hope with kind of different things.
Okay, I'm
And-
so glad that, like, I don't know. I always feel like when I think lesser of Force Awakens, I was like hurting your feelings. But
No, I agree. Honestly, watching Rogue One, I wish Rogue One was Force Awakens. I wish that
I know, yeah, no.
So,
I wish this was the first movie.
I wish Jyn Erso was Rey. Poe could be Andor. Finn could just kind of be the defective Imperial pilot, and then you just have 30 minutes stuck in there and make it longer and have all the Jedi shit happen. And then at the end, they're getting the plans for the Star Forge or whatever, or the Starkiller Base. Same thing.
You want it to be the Star Forge.
I actually
but it's not.
accidentally said Star Forge because in my head it's the same exact weapon.
Yeah.
But
Anyway.
See, that's I'll get into this in the review, but that's funny because I am not crazy about any of the characters. But anyway, so my ranking, it's changed a little bit, but it's kind of BS because there's so many ties in my ranking. But it goes 2, 1, 3, and Rogue One are tied because I will admit that Rogue One is a better made film in just about every aspect imaginable, but Episode 3 is just so much more fun for me.
it's because of Ian McDermott. I understand that.
Exactly. Yeah. It's
And Ewan McGregor.
and
Yeah.
Ewan McGregor.
Of him killing younglings.
Not Anakin. He couldn't.
But so Episode 6 and Episode 7 tied, and Episode 4 and Episode 5 tied.
All right.
All right. Well, I guess it's down to me. So this time, because I was the only one who tied. This is really funny. I was the only one who tied movies last time. So this time I was like, oh man, I have to be more.
Definitive.
I have to be more definitive. So I'm not gonna tie any of my movies this
No,
time.
see, I tied because you tied last time, so I was like, oh, I didn't know that was allowed.
I mean, what is and not allowed is not even like because last time I put in a movie that no one else even ranked.
That's true.
I know because
Fucking-
fuck you.
There are no
'Cause
rules.
It was released in theaters. It is the first Star Wars anthology film.
That's true. It's the Clone Wars, a Star Wars story.
Yep. I will stand by. No, anyway. Mine, going from the bottom, we got the Clone Wars movie.
Jesus.
2-1. I almost flipped it. 7. 3. So, I think I mentioned this. The Force Awakens, it kind of just gets worse every time I think about it. And to go into why would take, a whole podcast. So I don't want to do that. And I don't want to do that because we're talking about Rogue One. So I put 7 there. Now, again, 7 is not, as close to 1 as 1 is to 2. I'm making that clear. I don't really like it a whole lot, but
It's not dog shit.
It's not dog shit. It's well made. It's a well made movie. I just have a hell of a lot of problems with it.
Yeah.
I'm more, and then 3 because, like Nathan said, honestly, I think I compared this earlier. I told you guys I was like, so 3 for me, it's about half of an actual good movie. Almost half of it is, or at least it's trying.
Yeah.
It's the proper percentage would be probably 30% a really fantastic movie, 20% they're trying, and then 50% hilariously entertaining wonderfulness. 3, I cannot be bored watching Revenge of the Sith.
That's fair.
I can't, and that is a compliment. I feel like George Lucas tried. And the funny thing is that we'll talk about it, but this movie is the bridge. It's literally 3.5. It's literally the last of the prequels, in a way. Certain elements from 3 continue through, and then it goes into 4. So I don't know. I just find that interesting. But then I put Rogue One next after 3, because as I've said, it's well made, and like Nathan said, I do have a lot of problems, but since the parts I like more when I think about it, it kind of balances it. I don't know how to describe it, but Rogue One and then 6, 4, 5.
All right. Cool.
So yeah.
So let's get into talking about actually Rogue One. Let's talk about, so past our initial thoughts and rankings, let's actually talk about the film itself.